Hi, Jason from Ellerium Games here, and today we're going to talk about Enchanters. Enchanters was designed by, and I'm going to say his name wrong probably, Rafal Cywicki, right? That's probably wrong, I do apologize I got it wrong, but it's from Gindie House Publishing. It's a 2 to 4 player game. It's designed for 2 player only, but also it can go up to 4, well it's not designed for 2 player only, but it's designed for 1v1, but it can go 3 and 4s. It's just with 2 player you've got a slight different mechanical setup. It's about an hour playthrough roughly. The idea is it's you're all vying to create this intricate item that is enchanted, and then you battle it out to try and defeat monsters and effectively win points at the end. There's a lot of cards in the game. What we'll do is we'll open up the box, we'll show you what's inside, and then we'll take you through a playthrough. So here we have the box. Just before we pop it open, what I will tell you is that inside it's all organised because we've played it a few times and I just like to keep things organised. It won't come like this when you buy it, but we did have the bags came with it, so that was nice and helpful to separate it out. As you can see, some lovely artwork on the front of the box. This artwork is also applied on some of the cards as you go through it. So let's take a wee look inside. Inside you have the rulebook. The rulebook is explanatory of how to play the game, how to set up the game, tells you what contents, etc. One of the things I like about this rulebook is if you go to the back of the book, it's got a nice frequently asked questions section, so it does have the things. And it's also got some erratas for the cards just so you can check them out. Just so if you've got any issues, just jump to the back and have a look. And there you go, and it's got a wee help page at the back. Then you've got the paper playmat. This paper playmat is something I regret. I really wish I'd backed and got the neoprene playmat, but there she is there. Quite sizable. It's got a nice section at the bottom, shows you how to play the game, shows you quick setup, quick tips, etc. Areas for the cards, and then at the top we'll show you this as the game is set up for playthrough. Then you have all the cardboard punch tokens, lots of them. You've got the starting cards. As you see, everything's in baggies because I like to keep it all nice and neat and tidy. You've got Fists and of Enchanting. We will explain that a bit more. That's the starting cards. We also have the bigger cards, which are your player boards for each player to get one. So there's 1 for each player. We also have 21 villages. This which gives you the variation, a mix of this in the deck. So there's 21 of these lovely villages. There's the Port Orisan. You've got the Dwarf Berg. So yeah, there's a few of them. Then inside you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 different faction decks, or kingdom decks as they're calling them. Each one of them has a lot of cards in them. I forgot how many, but some of them got the symbol of 2 on them, which means they're for 2 player only. Because in a game for 2 players, each player will select 2 decks, whereas in a 3 or 4 player, each player will only select 1 deck. So as you can see, and the artwork's quite nice on the back. And then inside them, they've got some leather art. So we'll just open up this one to have a quick look for you. This is, as you see, the artwork's really nice. They've got attack symbols. They've got a health symbol, they've got an attack symbol, and a monster symbol for monsters. Then if you've got items, they've got what attack you gain and what defense you gain. And then we've got a couple of bits and pieces. And as you see, they've got victory points at the bottom, some of them. Some have special abilities. The art, look at that, quite cool. And some have got some, just very nice. The artwork, it's obviously because there's duplicates cards, it seems a bit repeated. But what's quite nice about this is each one, so even if you've got the same card, let's for example this guy, at the bottom they've got flavor text that always goes on. So this one is the Black Knight, it says always wins here. But the Black Knight here says comes in all colours as long as it's black. So it gives you that little extra enjoyment in the game. You can start make up little stories as you go along. And as you'll see when you do the enchantments, we'll show you that a bit further, is when you enchant something. Like example, this says the Fist, which is each finger, and then if we were to enchant it, each finger got you through enchanting school. Or example, let's try another one. Each finger has so much potential. So what we'll do is we will set up a little how to play it and show you how it works. So here we have, this is the setup. You put your piles of crystals out here. This is your currency, and then obviously your wound markers just sit in this area. What you do is you take the deck, you all choose the decks you're going to play, and you shuffle them together. So we're just going to do this now, just sort of so you can see the setup. So that's 1. This is set up for a 4-player game. 2, and then see the cardstock is good, good ripple. The only downside is a wee bit shiny on the light, so it's a bit of a pain in the neck, but it doesn't deter from the game too much. But I like being able to ripple shuffle because there's nothing better than ripple shuffling a set of cards. So we'll just give it another wee shuffle. And then what you do is to set this deck up, uh-oh, we've lost it. No, it's just coming in. There we go. You look at the bottom of the cards, so you start from the bottom, you flip it over. If it's a monster, you set it aside. And you keep setting aside until you hit some items. Then you start filling up the rack. Monster, 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 fill up the rack. Another one. Monster, monster. You can tell they're monsters because they've got the monster symbol in the corner. Items have this symbol and enchantments have the eyeball. So there's another one, there's this enchantment, and then we just need one more. Boom. And then what you do is you take the leftover monsters and just slap them at the bottom of the deck. And then you stick your deck there. Boom. Now, that's that. You then, you can either shuffle these up or choose one. Most of the time they recommend that you shuffle up. So we'll just give it a quick shuffle. Not that it matters because we're just going to grab one at random. You take one at random and you put it into the village area. Now, each village, I'm just going to show you with the example one, has an action that everybody can have access to. It'll either have, it usually has a multi-action, but if it doesn't, it will just say action, and then it has a list of other things to take note, and sometimes it has a victory condition at the end. Now, this multi-action means in a turn you can take one major action, which is to buy from here, or to rest. You also can do many minor actions, which this is classed as a minor action, and if it has action, it can be done once. Multi-action obviously can be done multiple times. Here you have, after taking enchantment, you can gain 3 crystals, and then after taking an item, you can take one. You take 1 wound. But if anything has an X, it's a rest symbol, so it means rest, take 3, rest, heal 1. So again, they sit over there. I'm just going to use this one because I like this one, so we'll stick that one there, stick that one in the picture. So there you go. And then what you do is you hand each player gets a board for attack and defense. You give them 1 token of the attack, 1 token of the defense. This is just as your game goes on to keep track of the cards set up. Then you give them 5 starting crystals, and then the best part, you give them a fist. We take a fist of enchanting. So what we have here is, let's just have a quick look. It says, oi, don't need an item when you have a fist that has so much potential. So there you go. So you would just set them in front of you like this. I'm going to put them this way just for my own ease. And that's that. So now that we've set up, we're going to take a little show you how to play. So you've got your fist of enchanting. I'm going to go first. And the first thing I do is I'm going to take my major actions. I'm going to buy a card from the setup. I'm going to buy, I'd like the helmet. So I'm going to pay 1. The cost of each card is there, and obviously as the cards go along, they get cheaper and cheaper, you keep track. So I'm going to buy this helmet. This helmet then overlays my fist. So I no longer have that beautiful fist of enchantment. I now have a helmet of enchantment. The helmet says, ram into your enemies with a helmet that has so much potential. So it overlays, it gives me 1 defense, and then it has an action here where I can pay 1 crystal to gain 3 defense. Now this is not permanent, this is just a temporary solution. This will allow you to do things over time and stop taking damage from monsters. Then when you've done that, you slide the track along, you flip over the next card and you pass to the next player. Now, what I have not done here, which I'm going to show you, is on this it says, after taking an item, I take 1 wound. So I take 1 wound and I place it here. Now, you can have as many wounds as you get. There's no limit to the number of wounds you can take. It just means they're worth -1 point at the end of the game, which is a pain in the neck. It slows you right down. So, we'll continue another turn. Next thing we do is we're going to buy, let's buy a new enchantment. We're just going to take, assume the game's gone past a few times, and this is our next one. We'll take this one here. When you take this, this is an instant effect. So it means I take 6 damage straight away for taking it. Not great, but it also gives me, it would give me 3 broken and 3 attack. So the 3 attack applies, which means I have 3 attack, but because it's broken, I have -3 attack. So this just goes over the enchantment. So this doesn't actually track just yet, but we'll track this along, we'll flip another item. So, for example, I go buy this one, I'm going to buy this one here, I'm going to put this on here. I then go up another. The difference here is, because it's got 3, 4, but it's got -3, I still get the 1 attack, so it builds up over time, and you just got to keep going. Now, say for instance I've run out of all my gold, and I'm like, okay, I need some credit, and I've got a lot of damage. I'm going to use one of the rest actions. So the first action I'm going to do is to take 3. Then it goes round the player comes back to me. I'm like, okay, I don't necessarily know what I'm doing. I'm going to rest and I'm going to heal 1. There are other cards as you go along that you can grab that'll heal you and increase your gold and let you chuck them for gold. But that's that. If you rest, whenever you rest, you take a card from here and you put it in the discard pile, so it keeps the flow moving. And this is one of the things we've made mistakes with a few times, is that you forget when you rest to discard the top card from here. And it just allows the track to move and move and move. For example, right now, I wanted to take on this monster here. This monster has 6 health, 3 damage. So if I attack it, I have to be able to deal 6 damage to kill it, and then it'll deal me 3 back. Now what I can do is, I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to take some gold. Say I've got all these crystals, I'm going to use a multi-action. So I need to get 6 damage, I've got 1, so I need another 5. So that's 3, 4, 5. So that increases me up to 6, and this is just to the end of turn. I'm going to grab this guy, and nab him here. I then take 1 for each wound I already have, so I've got 6. I take 6 wounds, but he is worth a mega 9 points. I've only got 2 defense, and he's got 6 attack, so I take an additional 4 wounds. So I've taken a lot of wounds just for dealing with this guy. Not good at all. But as you see, when you attack a monster, you compare its attack to your defense, and you take the difference in wounds. And that's that. Simple as. The game just keeps going on, and the game finishes when this deck runs out and there's nothing left in the deck, and that's when you know the game ends. You then calculate all the points on the bottom of your cards. I've got none here because of these ones, but for example, these 4 for each dragon, 9 points here, 2 points here, and then what you do is once you've got a sum total, you then start deducting all your health. That's negative 16 points there, and you'll be surprised how many games you play where people have between 5 to 10 points to win, and you can have a lot of people have negative points to win when they're playing. So it's a really good. It's got a lot of strategy. It's got a lot of replayability with different decks. So that was Enchanters. As you've seen, it looks complicated, but it's just a deck builder at its heart, and those artworks for the cards are amazing. The downside to the cards I don't like is the cardstock's very shiny, and it can be a bit off-putting sometimes. I like the fact that you can basically, as you've seen, the items and enchantments have little flavor text in them, and if you line them up, you can make some interesting combinations of sayings, which is fun. The other thing is, it's a bit of a setup because you've got all the tokens, all the items, you've got to shuffle the different decks, and then when you try to put it away, which I'm very OCD about, I like to put all the cards in the right packets and stuff, so that can be a bit of a pain in the neck. But it's still, it's hard, it's a lovely game. It can suffer sometimes from a bit of slow gameplay if you got a board lock when no one wants to buy that card, or, you know, it's just all the big monsters are sitting there and no one wants to attack them. So there is that, but other than that, it's not that bad. It's not that bad for slowing you down. It's really good. We play it once every so often. As I say, it was a Kickstarter for me, and I brought it to the table a few times. I really wish, though, as you've seen, we got that paper mat. I really wish I'd got the actual print, the play mat that they were doing with it, but unfortunately I missed out. They also did a second Kickstarter where you got the promo card. I missed out on that. But it's got so much replayability because you can mix the decks, you can add in the different villages. So again, for what it is, it's a small game, but it's a really good game. There's a few things that change, the card stock, and that's about it really. So yeah, that's Enchanters. Enjoy.